Imagine for a moment the very people you trusted, the very ones you loved the most, turned their backs on you. They laughed at your pain, they mocked your tears, and they left you broken. You felt invisible. You felt like you had no one. But what if I told you that they had to hurt you so that Allah could heal you? That their rejection was not the end of your story, it was the beginning of Allah's rewriting of your destiny. Pain is part of Allah's plan, and the sooner we realize this, the more peace we will find in our heart. Every difficulty, every heartbreak, and every disappointment you face is not a sign that Allah has abandoned you. It is a sign that Allah is shaping you, cleansing you, and preparing you for something greater. When you feel the sting of pain, know that it is not random. Nothing happens in the life of a believer without purpose. Even the smallest wound carries within it a wisdom known only to Allah. Sometimes pain is the very reason why we discover the strength we never knew we had. If life was always easy, we would remain complacent, we would forget our purpose, and we would rarely turn back to Allah in humility. But pain humbles us. It forces us to fall on our knees in dua. It pushes us to beg Allah for guidance, and it makes us realize how fragile we are without Him. That brokenness, that weakness is not a curse. It is actually a gift, because through it you are drawn closer to the one who loves you the most. Think of the moments when you felt crushed inside, when no words could explain your hurt and no person could truly comfort you. In those moments, Allah was silently calling you back to Him. The pain was a door, not a dead end. The pain was a reminder that this world was never meant to be perfect, and true comfort lies only with Allah. If we lived without pain, we would attach ourselves to people and things as if they could sustain us forever. But Allah, out of His mercy, places trials in our path, so we realize that ultimate healing comes only from Him. Even the prophets, the most beloved to Allah, endured immense. Yusuf as was betrayed by his brothers. Ayub as endured years of illness. Our Prophet Muhammad lost his loved ones and faced rejection from his people. If pain was meaningless, why would Allah allow His chosen ones to go through it? Because pain purifies, it elevates, and it prepares the heart to receive blessings that ordinary comfort could never prepare us for. So when you feel broken, remind yourself, this pain is not against me. It is for me. It is shaping me into who Allah knows I can become. Every trial that enters your life carries within it a hidden wisdom, even when you cannot see it at first. Often we look at hardship and immediately ask, why me? Why? But what we fail to realize is that behind every difficulty, Allah has placed lessons, blessings, and protection that we may only understand later, or perhaps not even in this life. What feels like a delay, a loss, or a rejection may actually be Allah's way of steering you away from harm and guiding you towards something far better than what you desired. Trials strip away the illusions of control we often carry in our heart. They remind us that no matter how much we plan, only Allah's plan will prevail, and His plan is always perfect. What we think is a setback is sometimes protection. That failed relationship may have saved you from years of misery. That lost opportunity may have opened the door to something great. That disappointment may have been the very thing that protected your faith. You see, the hidden wisdom in trials is that they purify our intentions, they reset our direction, and they remind us of who is truly in charge. Allah. Trials also expose the reality of our relationships and attachments. When hardship strikes, you begin to see who truly stands by you and who does not. You begin to see what truly matters and what is temporary. In this way, a painful trial can be the most powerful form of clarity Allah gives you. It removes the veil from your eyes and forces you to reflect on your priorities, your values, and your connection with your Creator. And often trials are not punishments, but gentle nudges. They wake us up from heedlessness, they push us back toward prayer, and they make us turn our hearts again to Allah. If life was always smooth, many of us would forget Him. But when the ground beneath us shakes, we instinctively call out Ya. That remembrance, that closeness, is in fact a hidden treasure inside the trial. The wisdom of trials is that they are not meant to break you but to build you. They are meant to detach you from this world so you can attach yourself to them. What you lose in a trial is never greater than what you stand to gain if you respond with patience, trust, and faith in Allah's wisdom. There are moments in life when the pain you carry is known only to you, and you cry in silence, your heart aches in ways no one else can see, and you wonder if anyone will ever understand what you are going through. That private pain, though invisible to the world, is never hidden from Allah. He sees every tear, hears every silent prayer, and knows every wound inside your heart. And sometimes He allows you to go through that hidden suffering because He has planned for you a healing so powerful, so beautiful, that it will be witnessed by everyone around you. Allah's way is unique. He allows you to be broken in private so that when He heals you, He does it in such a way that no one can deny His mercy. When the very people who doubted you mocked you, or even caused your pain, see how Allah has elevated you. It becomes a sign for them and a reminder for you. That private pain you thought would destroy you becomes the very reason Allah honors you openly. He replaces your humiliation with dignity, your loneliness with companionship, and your tears with joy in a way that only He can arrange. Think about Yusuf. His suffering began in secret, a well in the middle of nowhere, sold as a slave in silence. Nobody knew the depth of his pain. Yet Allah planned a healing that was witnessed by the entire nation when he was raised to a position of authority. His private pain turned into public healing, and his story continues to inspire until today. In our own lives, the same principle applies. The heartbreak you endured quietly, the sleepless nights no one else knew about, the rejections and betrayals you kept hidden, Allah has the power to transform all of that into public healing. When He decides to heal you, He does so in a way that your very scars become your strength, and your story becomes a testimony of His greatness. So never underestimate the power of the pain you carry in silence. That hidden struggle is often the seed of a miracle. Allah sometimes heals you privately, but when He chooses to heal you in public, it is so that everyone knows that His mercy is greater than any wound you ever carried. Sometimes the heart has to shatter before it can be made whole again. A heart that never experiences breaking often remains attached to the wrong things, people, possessions, or even false hopes. But when it breaks, when the weight becomes unbearable and the pieces scatter, that is when a person finally realizes that nothing in this world is permanent, and no one other than Allah can truly hold the heart together. The breaking is painful, but it is not the end. It is the beginning of being rebuilt stronger, purer, and more connected to the one who created it. When a heart breaks, illusions are stripped away. You see reality for what it truly is. That person you depended on was never meant to be your source of strength. That dream you thought would fulfill you was never meant to give you peace. That love you clung to was never guaranteed. The breaking teaches you that only Allah is constant. Only Allah can be relied upon without fear of disappointment. The cracks in the heart allow the light of faith to enter, light that could not penetrate when the heart was whole but distracted by worldly attachments. The wisdom in a broken heart is that it softens you, it humbles you, it makes you fall before Allah with sincerity you may never have known otherwise. In that brokenness you cry differently, you pray differently, and you seek Allah with an urgency that comfort could never give you. It is in those moments of despair that your dua becomes pure, stripped of pride and filled with honesty. And Allah in His mercy listens to the broken-hearted in a way that brings them closer to Him than ever before. But Allah does not leave the heart shut. He rebuilds it piece by piece, with patience, with healing, with strength you never imagined you could carry. And when He puts your heart back together, it is not the same heart it once was. It is stronger, wiser, and more focused on Him. The pain of the breaking was necessary for the beauty of the rebuilding. Without the fire, gold cannot be purified. Without breaking, the heart cannot be renewed. What once hurt you becomes the reason you rise, and what once shattered you becomes the very thing that brings you closer to Allah. Every tear that falls from your eyes is seen by Allah, and not a single one is wasted. When you cry out of pain, when you cry out of fear, when you cry in desperation, Allah records it, and He values it more than you could ever imagine. Tears are not a sign of weakness. They are a sign that your heart is alive, that it feels, that it turns to Allah when words cannot express what is inside. Sometimes your tears speak louder than your tongue. They rise to the heavens as silent doers, and Allah responds to them in ways you may not see immediately but will surely experience at the right time. When you sit in the quiet of the night with no one around and your pillow is soaked with tears, know that you are never alone. Allah is closer to you in that moment than anyone else could ever be. The world may not notice your struggle, but Allah does, and His promise is that He is with the broken-hearted, with those who are patient in their pain, and with those who continue to hope in Him despite their tears. The comfort you seek is already written for you, and your tears are part of that journey toward healing. The tears you shed in dua are treasures in the sight of Allah. They wash away sins, they soften the heart, and they bring you closer to His mercy. The Prophet ﷺ told us that there are two eyes that the fire of hell will never touch: the eye that weeps out of fear of Allah, and the eye that stays awake guarding in His court. This means your tears are not forgotten. They are your shield, your protection, your weight of goodness on the day of judgment. Even when your tears flow from heartbreak caused by people, Allah sees them as a reminder that you are turning back to Him. He is the one who will replace every tear with joy, every sorrow with peace, and every heartbreak with something better than what you lost. So do not be ashamed of your tears, and do not think they are in vain. They are seeds planted in the soil of patience, and Allah will cause them to grow into something far more beautiful than you ever expected. Not a single tear you shed for His sake or during your pain will ever be wasted. Every hardship you go through is not just about you, it is also about those who will one day hear your story and find hope in it. The struggles you endure, the battles you fight in silence, and the tears you shed may feel like they are breaking you, but in reality they are shaping you into a source of inspiration for others. Allah allows you to go through certain tests not only to strengthen you but also so that your survival, your patience, and your healing can become a guiding light for someone else who feels lost in the darkness. Think about it. How many times have you been inspired by someone else's journey? Perhaps you heard about a person who was betrayed but rose again, someone who lost everything but rebuilt their life with dignity, or someone who fell into despair but found peace through Allah. Their story gave you courage, and in the same way your story will give courage to others. The wounds you carry today may one day be the very words that save someone else tomorrow. Allah in His wisdom does not let pain remain meaningless. When He heals you, when He lifts you, when He replaces your tears with smiles, your journey becomes a testimony of His mercy. People who once thought they could not endure their own trials will look at you and say, if Allah carried them through it, He can carry me too. Your story becomes a bridge between despair and hope for countless hearts you may never even know you touched. Even the prophets' lives are filled with stories of pain and resilience, not just for their own growth, but so generations after them could draw strength from their journeys. Yusuf was thrown into a well, sold as a slave, and imprisoned unjustly, yet his story now inspires millions to trust Allah's plan. In the same way, your own experiences, though smaller in scale, hold a divine purpose, so do not underestimate your struggle. The very chapter of your life that caused you the most pain may one day be the chapter that gives someone else the will to keep going. Your scars are not signs of weakness. They are signs of survival, of faith, and of Allah's mercy. And when you share your story, it becomes a light for those still trapped in the dark.